At America's Future, and today we are talking to Kristen, and she's also from Washington State. And today we are going to hear how she got involved in politics and what she is doing at the moment in her in the GOP at the time right now. So take it away, Kristen. What are you? How did you get involved in politics?
Hey Timothy, thank you for inviting me to do this. This is kind of cool. Um, to hear that I'm the future or part of the future of politics is funny because sometimes you feel like the prime of your life is behind you, and now what? But I got involved. We I first got involved because women's spaces were being um, removed uh, in terms of privacy in our locker rooms and in our bathrooms at the gym. Um, I worked with a bunch of women here in Tacoma, Washington, trying to get people to understand the value of safe spaces for women. And so fought through that, got initiatives signed, um, and got to know women and how that whole process works. And it was way over my head. I didn't, I just knew the issue and I knew what I wanted for myself and for my daughters. And then probably a couple years later during COVID, and we lost that battle, by the way. We lost our safe spaces for women. A couple years later, we were fighting the progressive sex ed in our schools. My children were all in public school, and I, um, I didn't want. I wanted. I wanted the boys to be separate from the girls in sex ed, and they do their first sex ed class in fifth grade, and uh, just all of the changes were happening so fast. I couldn't keep up with them between social media and having teenagers and having kids going into middle school and then the changes in sex ed. And I went to a PTA meeting and they had these books open, and they told us at the PTA meeting, oh, by the way, we read this book um, with the kindergartners here. And I looked through the book and I couldn't believe the content. Um, and I personally felt really violated. Just it just was very violating content. And I couldn't imagine my son sitting in kindergarten without his mom there, hearing another adult going over this kind of information with him. I don't even remember in detail what the book was about. I just remember it was pretty it wasn't anything that I would sit down and discuss with my child at that time. And other than safety issues and how to keep privacy and um, appropriate touch and what's not appropriate and learning how to say no, those weren't the other things weren't. I didn't talk about boys wanting to be with girls or anything. I didn't think that they needed to hear that in kindergarten. Um, but it was bigger than that, and and I got involved in trying to fight the progressive sex ed that they were going to push into all the schools here in Washington. We lost that fight too, and that was the year that Trump lost. And I wasn't really concerned about Trump losing, but I didn't understand with the bipartisan support why we lost the fight against the progressive sex ed. We had a lot of support on the ground. We gathered enough signatures for the referendum. It was during COVID. So to gather all of those signatures and to have that support in the middle of COVID was a huge accomplishment. And after we lost that battle in 2021, after the election, I went into the Republican office, honestly, really angry and was like, "Where the heck are you guys? What are you doing? What is going on?" And the Republican Party at that point was kind of in shock with all of the losses that we had taken. We had huge losses that I wasn't even paying attention to at the time. Now knowing what I know and looking back, yeah, we lost big time. Um, and that's when I got involved. I was listening to podcasts and people talking about what was going on nationally, and that if you cared about these issues, you needed to go down to the Republican office and become a PCO. So that's what I did. The Republican Party was so disorganized. It took me probably 6 months before I even became a PCO. Um, and and it was not easy. Wasn't It hasn't been easy to uh, to make a difference and to get involved. And now that I'm in there, I'm the vice chair of Pierce County. My goal is to grow the party, bring people into a welcoming environment, and give them and empower them with the tools that they need to make a difference.
Wow, that is that's pretty crazy. I mean, if you think about it, it's like it seems like all the states that are blue, like Washington State, they all try and push that sex ed and what's the other thing? Oh yeah,
The
the boys and girls locker room and all of that. Like in California, it's like in all of the blue states, right?
Well, I think that this isn't unique to the blue states. It's just that it's loud. It's louder
Mm,
here. It is happening in the red states, and I think that a lot of the citizens don't even see or know what's happening. Um, there's a lot of quiet things that happen underground before before those bills come through. There's a reason why those bills win and get through. And it's a lot of other bills that happen before that people aren't paying attention to and people aren't aware of. And I think that is happening in the red and more conservative areas. They just don't know it. Um, and it's important for us. I walked into politics knowing nothing at all. I didn't know the difference between a county and a city, a legislative district, what a precinct was. And I think every state is a little bit different in their structure, but I had no idea how my local government functioned. And and I think most citizens are like that, unfortunately. But I was busy surviving, paying bills. I have 10 children. Um, and yes, they're all mine. And
oh no. Can you hear me, Kristen? Can you hear me? You you cut out.
you you get busy living life and trying to hear me. I'm not sure. Is it working now at all?
Yeah, I can hear you now. It just cut out there for a second.
Huh. I wonder why. I don't see anything that would have changed that. Let me.
So you were talking about having 10 children, and then the last thing I heard was you said something about you just get busy living life and you forget about and you just get caught up in living life and you like the issues at hand. You just you fail, or maybe not fail to see them, but it's just in the background. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, your city council meetings are going on without you, and your school board meetings, and you're not aware, of what's you just trust that um, someone out there is going to make decisions on behalf of you and your family and do common sense. You know, common sense is missing from our decision makers right now.
Yes, yes. So, how would you say like what would you say is the best thing to do moving forward? And there was another question I had for you, but I don't remember what it was. But what do you see is the best way to move forward? Even if it's maybe different in your state than it is in another, but what do you see, at least in your state, is the best way to move forward? What do you think we should do?
Okay.
Are you there, Kristen? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh,
Are we getting a bad connection?
are you? Oh, there we are. Okay, I hear you now. You're there.
Okay.
Did you hear? Were
Uh
you able to hear my question?
yeah, how to move forward and
Okay.
what we need to. So here
Yes.
the opposition or the other side, the Democrat Party. I hate to make it about the Democrat Party because it's not just that. It's an ideology that tends to be in organizations all around us. So um, they're very organized, very structured, and well equipped with finances and people. We have to find a way to work inside the party and outside the party in coalitions, work together to preserve our American values, the traditional American values, but just to preserve conservative values altogether. Um, if we're going to do that, that we have to work together. And it can't be the Republican Party alone. We have to fight that don't like what this.
Okay. So I got what you were saying, but there at the very end, like your screen cut off and then it came back on. But
Mine did
from what I
too.
gathered, you were saying that we need to come together, and even if it's like not between the two parties, we should come together as individuals wanting to conserve conservative values and not under the name of Republican Party or one party at that, and just say, look, we want to preserve conservative values. We want to preserve, two, when there's two genders, and we want to preserve conservative values, sacred spaces, and we need to build coalitions to make that happen. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And so uh
Hmm. I
so
think that we're American. We're Americans first.
oh, go ahead. No, you're good.
We're we're always Americans first, and that's what we need. How we need to approach it. It's not about being um, in on a side of a party. We have to work together just as Americans, and that's one of the reasons why I think that Trump is succeeding is because people see what's happening in America, and they're worried about their communities and about what we've known in liberty and freedom. It's disappearing. and I don't think it's about party. I don't. I think it's about preserving America.
Yes. Well, and I think that the last 4 years really put that front and center, and I think that you're right. You're right. It is about America first, and even people who are in the Democrat Party, maybe there. I know there's some that did that they voted all their life, and that's all they know.
Hmm.
But there's a lot of them are really America first, and that's you're right. You're right. We do. We that's what we want, and we need to build common ground with the polarization that we see in America today. And
Hmm.
but I agree, it is very important. And I think that let me know. Tell me what you think about this. So I don't know. I feel like we are like right now. If you look at like what's happening with Harvard, for example, and you see all the like Trump is going after like anti-Semitic speech and everything, and it's like, should we be worried about that? Shouldn't we be worried about other things like deporting all of these illegals that we have brought into our country under the Biden administration, and other things that are more important than that? Because I mean that could be violating free speech, you know. So what are your thoughts? Don't do you see that? Like, is that should we be wait? We shouldn't be worrying about that right now. Don't do you agree with that?
Well, I always when I hear something, um, I think, what would I do if the shoe was reversed? If Biden was doing the same thing, how would I feel and what would I think about it? Um, or Obama or Clinton, trying to put some perspective on it. Um, I was really shocked that the government gives Harvard $2 billion. That was I I don't understand why they get money from our federal government if they are not um, preserving or in an effort to give their students an excellent education, and they're discriminating against students in their school. Absolutely no, they should not be getting federal funding. Um, at that point, they need to be on their own. Um, without a commitment to American values, they shouldn't be getting American money. That's my thought. Um, that's coming from your pocket and my pocket. Do you want to pay for teachers, radical teachers, and radical students who are against the values of America? Because you're paying for that. And so is it on the scale of importance? I think it's all important. We're losing America. We are in a battle for preserving America, and preserving our Constitution. Freedom of speech, yes, but there are consequences for discriminating against people.
Yeah, you know, yeah, I
As
see.
for the deporting of citizens,
Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were finished. Um, uh, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and another thing that I also think about like it seems like we are like so hyper focused on this whole, and I think it obviously stems from the Israel Hamas war like conflict, but also I think like it seems like we are so hyper focused on like anti-Semitic speech, and it just I don't know. I just think it's like why are like if we're gonna be hyper focused on that, why is that what we're so hyper focused on? And it's like there's I feel like there's something more influencing the situation than just like American politics. I feel like there's something behind the scenes like APAC and I don't know. I really don't I wish we could just get rid of APAC because I feel like APAC has too much influence in American politics right now. But um I don't know. I just feel like maybe we're too hyper focused on things like that. But that's my opinion, I guess. So
Are
what do you think?
you're in Texas, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here in Washington, I just try to think about the students that are in the school paying for an education. And if we have families and students of faith, of all kinds of faith. So the Muslim faith, the Jewish faith, the Catholic faith, the Christian faith, and they're all in school together. Why is it okay?
Hey Kristen, can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me, but oh, okay. Well, hopefully she comes back. But I think what she was saying is um why should people be able to say things about the Jews? Oh, let's see if she comes back. Mm, okay. Well, let's see. Where is I don't know. Anyways, okay, so I think that I agree with her. Um, with on the side of like students, yes, they're going there to get an education, and so I think that I don't know. I feel like maybe we like are we crossing border? Like are we crossing lines that we shouldn't be crossing? Because I feel like it could be a slippery slope, and I mean it's like hate speech. We like there's states that are going after hate speech. I feel like Michigan is the big one. Um and if we like hate speech, like I'm not saying that it's okay for anyone to say horrible things to another person. That like obviously that's not okay. But if we go after speech, and I'm not saying that it's okay. Like yes, we should keep people from building encampments in a schoolyard. But I also think that like while we should keep people from doing that, and that should be something that maybe yes, we should arrest people who build encampments and actually physically attack other students. But going after speech is dangerous because if you go after one thing like that, then it's a slippery slope. So that's where I see it. And then I hope hopefully she comes back because I feel like I didn't give her enough time on what she was doing in Washington state politics. Hopefully, let me hold on. I'm gonna give me 1 second, guys. All right, I'll be back. Give me 1 second. Okay. Well, hopefully she rejoins because I really feel like I didn't give her enough time on what she's doing in Washington State. Anyways, okay. So I also wanted to touch on two other things. So we touched on that, and then also I feel like I don't know, I'm gonna try and get someone on who will maybe have more perspective on this when I'm about to go into. But I feel like as we have had Donald Trump in office, I feel like he came into office and he had a lot of things that he was going to do, and he was like, day one we're going to do this, day one we're going to do that, and this is going to happen on day one. And and as time goes on, we're all like, well, where why are there not more deportations happening? um and I've heard that and like the Epstein list, we like that was said that was going to come out earlier than it is, or whatever. And I remember Pam Bondi saying, oh, okay, well, it's coming out this afternoon or whatever, and it like never did. And so I don't know, I feel like why is it taking so long? And is it because there are people, and in fact I know that there are people trying to keep Trump from putting forth his agenda. But I've also heard that there are things happening behind the scenes that we don't see and that we don't know about. So, but, but what I'm going to is that we finally got some judges that are judicial activists. That two judges that were obstructing deportation by ICE, and we got arrests. And so hopefully we'll see more of that, because there's a lot of these judges that are keeping deportations from happening. um um and then finally, hopefully she comes back on. Oh, okay, so she's trying to rejoin, so hopefully she'll come back on. Let's see. Oh, there she is. Okay, I see her. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's bring her back up. Um. Okay. Hold on. Okay, Kristen, I see you. So I'm trying to bring you back up. Um. Try unmuting your mic.
Did that work?
Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay. It might be easier, Kristen, if you just leave your screen black.
Okay.
I don't know. It's up to you, but it might be easier like on Wi-Fi and stuff. But I'm sorry. I really feel like I didn't give you enough time on your part. So, is there anything else you want to touch on about what you're doing in Washington State, and and maybe give those uh people who, I don't know, I don't know how many viewers, but people who watch. Oh no, what happened? Uh,
I turned it off to see if it would
People
help.
that watch podcasts, what would you what advice would you give for them to okay, advice would you give that to get involved, and maybe they say that, oh, I'm too busy. I mean, look, you have 10 kids, and look, you are involved in politics, and I commend you for that. Like, that is so amazing, and I commend you for that. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to get involved, doesn't know how to get involved, doesn't think they have enough time? What would you say?
There's so much need that anything you can give will make a difference. There's a lot of ways
Um,
to
oh, No, you're good. You're good.
So there's so many different opportunities um, in the party, whether it's fundraising or knocking on doors or answering phone calls or writing thank you notes. I mean, there's never an end to the amount of things that we can do to make a difference, and it all makes a difference. So you don't have to be it doesn't have to be 40, 60 hours a week. It can be a couple hours a week, and a couple hours a week is a gift. It's a huge gift to the party. Um and in your community, connecting and networking with people in your community and having the discussions and going through the difficult discussions, right? These aren't easy discussions to have. They usually are very volatile and emotional. Try to ask questions and get the emotion out of it as much as possible. um, but we have to have these discussions as Americans.
Yes, and attend Leadership Institute trainings, right?
That is how I have learned everything that I needed to be able to add and make a real difference, whether it's legislation or sending out effective emails, organizing a fundraiser, you name it, right? Leadership Institute has the training that you can use to be effective in your communities and in your workplace. So that is such an incredible gift and such an incredible. I learned during COVID, the way I even got involved in Leadership Institute was I wanted to know what the Constitution said. I think we are all wondering why our freedoms were being limited. So I went in and took a class with Leadership Institute on the Constitution. And it went from there. I could not believe all of the things that you could learn for free or for a very low cost. And it's such a rich, rich environment of learning.
So, what would you say is the hardest thing that you've encountered in 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 local politics, and how have you like moved like overcome that? Yeah, yeah.
The lack of unity and the division within the party, the in party uh, discord. It's been very, very difficult, um, and it's destroying us. Um, we have candidates that run against each other in the Republican Party, one from the conservative side and one from the more moderate side, and it divides everybody in the party every time.
Um, and maybe this can be the final question. I don't know, but what would you say? Like you said that when you came in, like you didn't know what a legislative district was, or things like that. So if like those kind of things that are important for people just getting involved, like want to get involved, what information, like things like that, what would you tell? Like, can you give people a little bit of rundown, maybe, if I don't know, 5 minutes or however long you think you need?
All politics is local, and so understanding the structure of your community and how it's set up, and doing your research. The party didn't hand me that information. I try to make sure that the people coming in now, that it's there for them, that I give that to them. I don't assume that they know anything when they come in. I assume they're just like me, and they're not familiar with the structure of politics, and the organization of our state. But do everything you can to learn it and to understand it. And I did it with 10 kids, and I did it um staying up late at night and googling, and now we have chat gpt. So I don't think you have more information at your fingertips than what we have right now. So if you want to learn it, you will learn it. It's there for you.
Yes. Um, and are there any um any like things that you see inside, I don't know, like inside, like you being involved in politics, thing that you see happening inside that people who are just every day that maybe don't see, that maybe um might get them, oh, maybe I should get involved. Like, is there anything that, I mean, oh, obviously the other things besides, the sex ed in schools and school board meetings, is there anything inside, like getting involved, like, wow, this, if I get involved, I can make a difference?
I see I always see things in pictures. So there's a table, it's been set, the food is going to be served. And if you're not there, you don't get to be part of it. But it's there for you. So come and join the table and be part of things. You have to show up. Um, and you have to fight for that seat sometimes. You have to fight for that seat at the table because some people don't want you there. And it's worth the effort, and it's worth the battle to be at that table. Decisions are being made by the people that are sitting there. And if you don't show up, you you don't get to be part of those decisions. Decisions will be made for you, and we all need to be sitting at the table.
Okay, so this is my final question for you. I asked Kamal what he does as a precinct officer.
Mhm.
So as a precinct officer, what do you do as a precinct officer?
Oh my gosh. So it's just getting to know your neighbors. That's it. You're getting to know your neighbors. Uh, in my neighborhood, the majority have no soliciting. They have the
Mm,
ring doorbells, so that's scary. You're on video every time you walk up to the porch. They have all the "We Believe" signs. Do you know what I'm talking about? In this house,
uh
we believe, and it's in all the rainbow colors.
oh no.
Um, I live in a very, very, very liberal neighborhood, very high educated, wealthy, wealthy community, and so it's not easy. So being a PCO means going to the door and being as friendly as you can and not getting the answer at the door. So sending postcards to those people because you're trying to find citizens that agree on different policies. Not all of them, but they agree with you on conservative policies. And then you're going to try to work together with them, right? And so I have found neighbors, even the best one is a young kid. He's 24. Both of his parents are Democrat,
Oh,
um, and he's a conservative Republican. And to
wow.
be a conservative Republican in this area as a young man, um, that's a hell of its own. So I just try to pull people out of their isolation and let them know that they're not alone and that they have support, and keeping them informed and letting them know ways that they can be involved, whether it's going to a movie night where we are showing we had a movie night where we showed the war on children with Robbie Starbuck, and inviting people and making them feel wanted. That's what you do as a PCO.
Oh wow, that's really cool. Um, well, I think that's all my questions for you. You're free to go. But I there's one more thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
Outside of what you do in Washington State. To the links I sent you. I sent you two links at the bottom
Mm-hmm.
talking about the illegals they arrested in Minnesota and then in Pueblo, New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones in Pueblo, New Mexico, they had like several thousand rounds of ammunition. And then the one in Minnesota, um, there was a guy named Mohammed, and there was a hashtag that he posted on social media, said "Death to America and Israel," and he was like an Islamic sympathizer. But I think this goes to show that, I mean, in past podcast episodes I've done, well, mainly in Freedom First, where I talked about sleeper cells from the Biden administration, and I think that that's them coming to light. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I think we live in an incredible country with a lot of opportunity, and it's a beautiful thing. And there are people out there who hate us. They do.
Mm-hmm.
And with law, law and order, we can respectfully keep the law in mind and pursue what needs to be done to keep our liberty and our freedom here in America. Um, and it will be for our children and for future immigrants, the immigrants who have come here legally, the people who fought for this country and are willing to continue fighting for it. Um, we cannot underestimate the hatred for Americans. And it goes back to, and I don't understand it. I don't think we can understand it as whether you're a Christian or just an average American citizen. Why do they hate us so much? And the same question is, why do they hate the Jews so much? Um, when you have freedom and liberty, those who do not resent you. And I don't think we can understand that because we haven't lived without freedom and without liberty. So those people, yeah, they we are to blame for everything in the world, whether it's good or bad. And that's what happens when you're the one of the leaders, right? When you're a leader, like when you're a kid, if things aren't going well at home, the first person you blame is your parents. And I'm not saying that America is the parent of the world, but we are leaders in the world. And so when things aren't going well in other countries, they blame us. They blame us. And there is an underground hatred for us, and it's being taught in our schools with our own children, and that's something else that we need to pay attention to. So yeah, these sleeper cells, they exist. They always have. They always have. Even back to World War II. Um, they've been here. They're here. So we have to be vigilant to protect our country and to protect our citizens and be willing to do the hard things and get them out. Law and order is here for a reason. It's to protect us. Um, and we have to be part of that process as citizens.
Well, Kristen, thank you so much for coming on my podcast
Yeah.
And do you have any social media or anything that people can find you on?
I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere if you find me, but I'm not. I don't try to be influential. I'm not one of those big influential people. I just share my heart, and so yeah, I'm on Facebook mostly, uh, but I try to be involved in my community, my local community. But thank you, Timothy. It was a pleasure meeting you at Leadership Institute and getting to know you there. And it gives a
Thank
lot of
you.
hope to
Thank
see
you. I do my best. And yeah. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
it keeps the hope
Sorry, I
going
interrupted you. Sorry.
when you see younger people involved and learning and willing to get the truth out.
Well, I generally, well, I always try and do my best, but by the grace of God, I am who I am, and I owe it all to God. So I I hope that everything goes well for you, and that um if you ever want to come back on my podcast and you have any updates for us, or you want to talk about an issue and we can discuss it at length, let me know. I'd love to have you back on. And but otherwise, I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you.